Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we explore the fascinating story of the Bahrain 100 fils coin, a small yet deeply meaningful piece of currency that reflects the economic evolution, cultural identity, and modern history of the Kingdom of Bahrain. Because although the 100 fils coin may seem like an ordinary denomination used for daily purchases, transport fares, or small transactions, its origins are closely tied to Bahrain's transformation from a regional trading hub into a modern financial center of the Gulf. And to truly understand this coin, we must first look at the historical context in which it was introduced, when Bahrain began formalizing its monetary system to support growing commerce, oil discovery, and expanding international trade, replacing older systems based on foreign currencies and barter-style valuation with a unified national currency that could represent sovereignty and economic stability, and the Bahraini dinar, subdivided into fils, was established. As one of the strongest currencies in the region, with a 100 fils denomination designed to serve as a practical everyday unit while still carrying symbolic weight, and the choice to issue a 100 fils coin rather than relying solely on paper notes or smaller denominations reflected careful planning by monetary authorities who understood the importance of durability, cost efficiency, and public trust in physical money, and the authority behind this system, originally the Bahrain Monetary Agency, and later the Central Bank of Bahrain, played a critical role in regulating coinage standards, metal composition, and circulation volumes to ensure consistency and reliability. And from a design perspective, the Bahrain 100 fils coin is a powerful expression of national identity, often featuring motifs that reflect Bahrain's heritage, such as traditional Arabic calligraphy, national emblems, and references to maritime history, pearl diving, or Islamic artistic balance, all carefully arranged to communicate authenticity and pride without excess ornamentation. And unlike commemorative issues designed primarily for collectors, the 100 fils was created to withstand heavy circulation, which is why its metal composition prioritizes durability and resistance to corrosion in Bahrain's hot and humid climate, a practical consideration that subtly influences how the coin ages over time, developing surface wear and toning patterns that can tell experienced collectors a great deal about circulation intensity and environmental exposure. And as Bahrain's economy expanded through the latter half of the 20th century, driven by oil revenues, banking, and logistics, the 100 fils coin became a constant presence in everyday life, passing through countless hands in markets, taxis, shops, and workplaces, silently recording the rhythms of daily commerce. And this is where the historical value of such a coin truly lies, because while banknotes often change designs or are replaced, circulating coins tend to remain consistent, making them reliable witnesses to long-term economic behavior. And for collectors, this consistency offers a stable foundation for studying year-by-year variations, strike quality, and condition rarity, especially since most people rarely preserve low-denomination coins in pristine condition, meaning that uncirculated examples of the Bahrain 100 fils are far scarcer than mintage figures alone might suggest. And when you examine the coin closely, details such as edge definition, relief sharpness, and surface texture reveal the technical standards of modern minting, balancing machine readability with aesthetic clarity, ensuring compatibility with vending systems and automated counters while still maintaining a visually pleasing design. And this balance reflects Bahrain's broader economic philosophy, which blends tradition with modernization, respecting heritage while embracing global standards. And internationally, Bahraini coinage also carries significance because the dinar is one of the highest valued currencies in the world by exchange rate, making even small denominations like the 100 fils symbolically powerful, representing a strong and stable economy rather than inflation-driven necessity. And this perception influences how foreign collectors view Bahraini coins, often associating them with monetary discipline and regional importance. And from a cultural standpoint, the inscriptions and symbols on the 100 fils coin reinforce Arabic language, Islamic artistic principles, and national pride, ensuring that even everyday transactions remain connected to identity. And as Bahrain continues to evolve as a financial hub in the Gulf, coins like the 100 fils remain a tangible link between past and present, reminding citizens and collectors alike that modern economies are built not only on digital transactions and policy decisions, but also on physical objects that carry trust, authority, and shared meaning. And this foundational understanding of the Bahrain 100 fils coin sets the stage for a deeper exploration into its varieties, circulation behavior, collector interest, and long-term numismatic significance as we continue uncovering its story. As we continue exploring the Bahrain 100 fils coin in greater depth, it becomes clear that this small denomination plays a much larger role than its size suggests, because coins like this function as the backbone of everyday economic interaction, quietly enabling millions of low-value transactions that keep markets fluid and accessible. And in a country such as Bahrain, where traditional souks exist alongside modern malls and financial districts, The 100 fils coin represents continuity between generations, linking older cash-based practices with a rapidly digitizing economy, and historically, the decision to maintain coin denominations such as 100 fils rather than eliminating them reflects confidence in monetary stability, since low-value coins tend to disappear first in economies affected by inflation. Yet Bahrain's strong dinar allowed such denominations to remain relevant and practical for decades, and this stability is not accidental but the result of careful policy oversight, oil revenue management, and financial sector development that positioned Bahrain as a regional banking hub. And when we analyze the 100 fils coin from a technical standpoint, its metal composition and thickness reveal intentional engineering choices designed to withstand heavy circulation, repeated handling, and exposure to heat and humidity, which is why most circulated examples show smooth wear patterns rather than severe corrosion, making them excellent study pieces for understanding long-term circulation behavior in Gulf climates, and collectors who examine large quantities of circulated coins often notice how edges become softly rounded over time while central design elements remain legible, a testament to balanced relief depth that protects key motifs without sacrificing visual clarity, and this durability also explains why many older examples remain functional decades after being struck, continuing to circulate alongside newer issues with minimal disruption to daily commerce. And from a numismatic perspective, this longevity complicates value assessment, because high survival rates in worn condition coexist with extreme scarcity in uncirculated grades, creating a sharp divide between common circulated coins and genuinely collectible specimens, and this is where modern coin collecting shifts from simple accumulation to selective preservation, as collectors begin searching for examples with full original luster, clean fields, and crisp lettering, which are rarely found outside mint sets or early hoards, and beyond condition. Subtle variations in strike strength and surface texture across different years offer opportunities for detailed study, as these differences often correspond to changes in minting contracts, production volumes, or equipment maintenance cycles, even when official designs remain unchanged. And although Bahrain does not frequently publicize detailed mintage breakdowns by year for circulating coinage, careful observation by collectors can reveal patterns of relative scarcity, especially when certain dates consistently appear less frequently in circulation, hinting at lower production runs or limited release. And culturally, the presence of Arabic inscriptions on the coin reinforces linguistic identity in everyday life, ensuring that even the most routine transaction carries an element of national expression, while the balanced, uncluttered layout reflects Islamic design principles that favor harmony and readability, and this cultural consistency contributes to the coin's quiet authority, as people instinctively trust and recognize it without conscious thought, which is one of the highest achievements of good currency design. And institutionally, the role of the Central Bank of Bahrain is central to maintaining this trust, as it oversees not only monetary policy but also the physical standards of coinage, ensuring weight, diameter, and composition remain consistent so that coins integrate seamlessly into vending machines, parking meters, and counting systems, and this technical reliability further enhances the coin's lifespan and acceptance. And when we consider the human dimension, the Bahrain 100 fils coin has participated in countless everyday moments, paying for tea, snacks, bus fares, and small necessities, embedding itself into personal memories and routines. And it is precisely this ubiquity that often causes such coins to be overlooked, even though ubiquity today often becomes nostalgia tomorrow, and as cash usage gradually declines in favor of digital payments, each remaining physical coin gains retrospective significance as a tangible reminder of a more tactile economic era, making the 100 fils coin not just a monetary tool but a cultural artifact in waiting. And for collectors who understand this transition, preserving examples now becomes an act of documenting social history rather than chasing immediate profit, setting the foundation for deeper appreciation of the coin's role as both economic instrument and silent witness to Bahrain's modern development. As we move further into the analytical core of the Bahrain 100 fils coin, the focus naturally shifts toward collector behavior, rarity formation, and how an everyday circulation coin gradually transforms into a numismatic subject of serious interest, because value in coin collecting is rarely immediate and almost never obvious at the time of issue, especially for low-denomination coins that circulate heavily and are seldom saved in pristine condition, and the 100 fils is a perfect example of this phenomenon, as millions of pieces may be struck over time to support daily commerce, yet only a very small percentage survive without wear, scratches, or environmental damage, creating a dramatic gap between apparent abundance and true collectible scarcity, and this gap becomes more pronounced as years pass, because coins lost to melting, corrosion, hoarding, or simple disappearance steadily reduce the surviving population, particularly in higher grades, and for Bahrain, where coins are routinely handled in hot conditions, Even minimal exposure to sweat and humidity accelerates surface dulling, making original mint luster an increasingly rare trait, and collectors who actively search through circulation quickly learn that finding a sharply struck, lustrous 100 fils coin is far more difficult than finding older silver coins that were deliberately saved. And this reality reshapes how modern Gulf coinage is evaluated, shifting emphasis from age and metal content to condition, strike quality, and originality. And from a technical standpoint, the Bahrain 100 fils also offers an interesting study in production consistency, as modern minting techniques aim to minimize variation, yet subtle differences inevitably occur due to die wear, planchet preparation, and striking pressure, and experienced collectors can often identify early die states by sharper lettering and fuller relief, while later die states show slight softness or flow lines, particularly in high-contact areas, and these distinctions allow collectors to build more nuanced collections that go beyond simple date sets, focusing instead on production phases and technical characteristics. And although dramatic mint errors are relatively uncommon due to strict quality control, confirmed errors such as off-center strikes, clipped planchets, or weak strikes do exist and command significant attention precisely because they represent rare deviations from an otherwise controlled process, and such pieces are especially desirable in regions where error collecting is still developing, as they often become cornerstone items within specialized collections, and institutionally, oversight by the Central Bank of Bahrain ensures that standards remain high, which paradoxically increases the desirability of any anomaly that does escape into circulation, because rarity is magnified when systems are designed to prevent it. And from a market perspective, interest in Middle Eastern coinage has been steadily increasing among international collectors, driven by a broader appreciation of non-Western monetary histories and the recognition that Gulf economies played a significant role in global energy markets, trade routes, and financial systems, and Bahrain, as one of the region's earliest financial centers, holds particular appeal, making its circulating coinage an accessible entry point for collectors seeking diversification beyond traditional European and American series, and the 100 fils coin, being affordable and widely available in circulated condition, allows beginners to engage with this history while offering advanced collectors the challenge of locating premium examples, and this dual accessibility is one of the strongest indicators of long-term collectability, because it ensures sustained interest across multiple generations of collectors. And when you combine this with the gradual reduction of cash usage, the future scarcity of high-grade examples becomes almost inevitable, setting the stage for the 100 fils to transition from overlooked pocket change to studied historical artifact, appreciated not for immediate monetary value but for what it reveals about economic life, production standards, and cultural continuity in modern Bahrain. As the exploration of the Bahrain 100 fils coin continues into a broader perspective, it becomes important to consider how social habits, economic shifts, and regional context influence the long-term significance of such a modest denomination, because coins do not exist in isolation but move within complex systems of trade, culture, and daily behavior, and in the case of Bahrain, the 100 fils coin has circulated through a society that balances deep-rooted tradition with rapid modernization, and this balance is reflected in the coin's sustained relevance despite the rise of electronic payments and contactless transactions, and while digital wallets and cards have reduced the frequency of cash use, they have not eliminated the need for small-denomination coins entirely, especially in informal markets, local transport, and small-scale retail, where the 100 fils continues to function as a practical unit of value, and this persistence ensures that the coin remains embedded in everyday life. Even as payment habits evolve, and from a historical standpoint, this coexistence of old and new is precisely what makes the 100 fils significant, because it captures a transitional moment in monetary history when physical currency and digital finance overlap, creating a layered economic environment that future historians will find rich with insight, and for collectors, this transitional status adds depth to the coin's narrative, transforming it from a simple object into a symbol of adaptation and resilience. And another factor that shapes collectability is public perception, because coins that people consider too small or too common are often neglected, leading to poor preservation rates, and this neglect, ironically, is what eventually creates scarcity, especially in higher grades, as only a tiny fraction of coins are intentionally saved. And this pattern has repeated itself throughout numismatic history across many regions, where low-denomination coins later became difficult to source in uncirculated condition despite massive original mintages, and the Bahrain 100 fils appears to be following this same trajectory, particularly as older issues gradually disappear from circulation without being formally withdrawn, quietly reducing the available supply. And from a design analysis perspective, the coin's clean layout and restrained imagery reflect a philosophy of clarity and trust, avoiding overly complex elements that could compromise legibility or machine recognition. And this functional aesthetic aligns with Bahrain's broader approach to governance and commerce, emphasizing reliability, order, and openness to international standards, and the consistent application of these principles over time has contributed to strong public confidence in the currency, which in turn supports the coin's long lifespan and acceptance, and institutionally. The oversight of the Central Bank of Bahrain ensures continuity not only in monetary policy but also in the physical characteristics of coinage, allowing coins from different years to circulate interchangeably without confusion or friction, and this continuity simplifies daily transactions while complicating numismatic study, because variations are subtle and require careful observation to identify, rewarding collectors who invest time and attention rather than those seeking obvious differences. And on a regional level, Bahraini coinage occupies an interesting position within Gulf numismatics, as Bahrain was among the earlier adopters of modern centralized banking systems in the region, and its coinage reflects this early institutional maturity, often exhibiting higher production consistency and conservative design choices compared to some neighboring states, and this makes the 100 fils an excellent reference point for comparative studies, allowing collectors to examine how different Gulf countries approached modernization, symbolism, and currency stability, and beyond technical and market considerations. The human element remains central to the coin story, because each circulated 100 fils coin has passed through countless hands, witnessing ordinary moments of exchange that collectively define economic life, and these invisible stories embedded in worn surfaces and softened edges give the coin a quiet authenticity that pristine objects sometimes lack, reminding us that history is lived through routine actions as much as grand events, and as time moves forward and cash continues its gradual retreat, the Bahrain 100 fils will increasingly be viewed not just as change, but as a tangible record of how value was once exchanged, trusted, and shared, preparing the ground for the final stage of its narrative, where legacy, future perception, and long-term historical importance come into full focus. As the Bahrain 100 fils coin enters the final stages of its long-term story, its role shifts from a purely functional object of commerce to a historical marker that encapsulates how a small but influential Gulf nation navigated economic growth, identity, and modernization, and this transformation is not sudden but gradual, shaped by changes in payment behavior, generational attitudes toward cash, and the evolving relationship between citizens and physical money, because while older generations often associate coins with reliability and tangibility, younger generations increasingly view them as transitional tools in a world dominated by digital transactions. Yet it is precisely this generational shift that enhances the historical importance of the 100 fils, as coins that once seemed ordinary become symbolic artifacts representing an era when value was physically exchanged hand to hand. And in the context of Bahrain, this symbolism is particularly meaningful, because the nation's rapid development over a relatively short historical period means that everyday objects from recent decades already carry strong documentary value, and the 100 fils coin stands as a witness to Bahrain's emergence as a regional financial hub, reflecting stability, careful governance, and confidence in its currency. And from a broader numismatic perspective, modern circulation coins like the 100 fils are increasingly recognized as essential components of historical study, because they reveal what governments considered important enough to place in constant public view, whether through language, symbols, or stylistic restraint, and the conservative, balanced design of the 100 fils communicates authority without extravagance, suggesting a monetary philosophy built on trust rather than spectacle, and this design approach aligns closely with the institutional role of the Central Bank of Bahrain, which has consistently emphasized monetary discipline, consistency, and international credibility, all of which are subtly reinforced through the physical characteristics of the coin, and as time passes, these characteristics become reference points for historians studying how financial institutions expressed policy values through tangible means, and beyond institutional narratives, the personal dimension of the 100 fils coin cannot be ignored, because countless individuals have interacted with it in moments that collectively define social life, from buying food and paying fares to giving children pocket money, embedding the coin into lived experience rather than abstract economics, and when such coins eventually fade from circulation, they do not simply disappear but instead reappear in collections, archives, and memories, where their meaning shifts from utility to testimony, and this shift is already beginning, as collectors increasingly recognize that preserving high-quality examples of modern Gulf coinage is not merely a hobby but a form of cultural documentation, ensuring that future generations can study authentic objects rather than rely solely on photographs or written descriptions. And academically, the Bahrain 100 fils also contributes to comparative monetary studies, offering insight into how small, resource-rich states balanced global integration with national identity, especially when compared to coinage from larger economies where symbolism is often diluted by scale. and this makes the 100 fils an ideal case study for understanding how monetary design, denomination structure, and circulation strategy reflect broader economic priorities, and looking ahead, the coin's long-term significance will likely grow as physical currency becomes less dominant, because scarcity in daily use often enhances interpretive value, turning once overlooked coins into primary sources for understanding economic behavior, technological transition, and cultural continuity, and this evolving perception prepares us for the final reflection on the Bahrain 100 fils coin, where legacy, preservation, and historical memory converge to define what this small denomination will ultimately represent in the story of Bahrain's modern development. As we reach the final reflection on the Bahrain 100 fils coin, its full significance becomes clear not through rarity charts or price guides, but through the broader story it tells about continuity, trust, and everyday life in a rapidly changing world, because coins like the 100 fils rarely announce their importance loudly, yet they quietly carry the weight of history in their worn surfaces and familiar feel. And in the case of Bahrain, this small denomination has accompanied the nation through decades of economic growth, social transformation, and increasing global integration, serving as a constant presence in the hands of citizens even as skylines rose, industries evolved, and financial systems modernized, and this quiet persistence is precisely what gives the coin its lasting value as a historical artifact, because it reflects how ordinary people interacted with money on a daily basis rather than how governments wished to be remembered through grand commemoratives. And from a numismatic legacy perspective, the Bahrain 100 fils is a textbook example of how circulation coins mature into objects of study, as time filters out damaged, lost, and heavily worn pieces, leaving behind a much smaller population of well-preserved examples that allow future collectors and historians to reconstruct production standards, design intentions, and circulation patterns. And this process is already unfolding as cash usage declines and older issues naturally vanish from everyday commerce without formal withdrawal, increasing the importance of those pieces that were intentionally saved or accidentally preserved in high condition, and beyond physical survival, the interpretive value of the coin will continue to grow, because it represents a specific phase in Bahrain's monetary history when physical currency still played a central role alongside emerging digital systems, making it an ideal reference point for studying economic transition, and institutionally, the consistency maintained by the Central Bank of Bahrain ensures that the 100 fils remains a reliable benchmark for understanding how policy decisions translate into tangible objects, reinforcing public trust through uniform standards rather than frequent redesigns, and culturally, the coin's Arabic inscriptions and balanced design serve as enduring expressions of national identity, quietly reinforcing language and heritage in everyday transactions, and when viewed through this lens, the 100 fils becomes more than money. It becomes a carrier of collective memory, linking generations through shared experience, and for collectors watching today, the opportunity lies not in speculation but in recognition, understanding that the coins most likely to matter in the future are often those taken for granted in the present, and by preserving examples now, collectors contribute to the documentation of Bahrain's modern era, ensuring that future study is grounded in authentic material rather than abstraction, and as the Bahrain 100 fils gradually recedes from daily use, its role will not end but simply change, moving from pocket to archive, from utility to testimony, and from overlooked change to meaningful historical record, and with that final thought, the story of the Bahrain 100 fils coin comes to a close, not as an ending but as a lasting reminder that even the smallest denominations can carry the largest stories, and thanks for watching.